What is the next dessert you made?
Churros.
What exactly is a churro?
Churros, like most people know, are the things you buy at fairs and restaurants, and they're basically deep-fried, star-shaped, like, pastry sticks that are rolled in cinnamon and sugar, most often here in the United States.
Where do churros originally come from?
The churro history is more interesting than I thought, because it's gone through a lot of revisions and adaptations after being brought from place to place.
Where did it start?
It apparently started as a savory breakfast treat in China and was brought to the Iberian Peninsula by the Portuguese. The Portuguese made them sweet by replacing the salt with sugar, and they also added the common star-shaped ends. And the churros became popular with shepherds because they were easy enough to make with just flour, water, and oil over the fire. And they were more savory then because they were pretty simple for shepherds to make in between towns when they were roaming with their herds.
When I think of churros, I think of Mexico. How did they get there?
When the conquistadors came to Latin America, they brought the churro with them, and it's been altered by a lot of countries to make them slightly different in each of them. Lots of Latin American countries made the churro larger so that it could be filled with different things too.
What are some of the things that they can be filled with?
It depends on the country. In Cuba, they're commonly filled with fruit like guava, which I've never had, but it sounds weird. And countries like Chile, Argentina, Bolivia, Peru, and Mexico like to pair the dessert with dulce de leche, which is like a caramel sauce that they dip it in or they can fill it with. Uruguay makes a more savory option, so kind of kicking it old school. And they also make a sweet one, but the savory one they eat with melted cheese, which I think sounds pretty good. Sounds kind of like a breadstick or pretzel. And then here, obviously, the most common is cinnamon and sugar. And that's the only kind I've had. I don't know that many people have had different kinds, but I think they'd be interesting to try.
Are churros eaten on certain special occasions, or are they a more common, like, everyday dessert or snack?
Today in Spain and Portugal, the countries of the Iberian Peninsula, churros are eaten throughout the day and usually paired with coffee, so they're a pretty common snack. They kind of remind me of a biscotti.
Was the recipe you found close to a traditional recipe you could find in Spain?
No, not really. The recipe that I found was, again, from Pinterest, like most of my recipes, and it wasn't a true churro because I used baked puff pastry rolled into cinnamon and sugar instead of frying dough like you're supposed to. And while the flavor was similar because it's just cinnamon sugar on top of each, it wasn't identical because mine were a lot shorter and churros are usually long. But yeah, they were pretty different. So again, my recipe was pretty different, but it was really quick and easy churro adjacent dessert because it was a lot easier than getting a fryer into your kitchen, which not many people have. I don't have a fryer, and I didn't want to mess around with hot oil, and that's what you cook churros with traditionally. So this was a pretty good recipe for knockoff churros.
So if you're craving a churro, would you recommend this recipe, making the ones like you did?
If you really want a churro, go buy one from a restaurant or somewhere in Latin America. But if you just want cinnamon sugar flavored pastry, this recipe wasn't all that bad, I think.